Nothing is so terrible as a pretentious movie. I mean, a movie that aspires for something really terrific and doesn't pull it off is shit, it's scum. And everyone will walk on it as such. And that's why poor filmmakers, in a way, that's their greatest horror, is to be pretentious. So here you are, on one hand, is trying to aspire to really do something. On the other hand, you're not allowed to be pretentious. And finally you say, fuck it.
As of the writing of this video, Francis Ford Coppola's grand return to directing Megalopolis is set to release in exactly 1 week. And I'm here to tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, this film is going to be the biggest flop in Hollywood history, and has already had the worst rollout to a film I've ever seen. But first, what's the movie even about? Well, set in a version of New York called New Rome, Coppola is trying to tell a story much like the fall of Rome. The city is hit with an awful natural disaster that leaves it for ruin, like how Rome burned under Nero. The film follows an architect, played by Adam Driver, who has a visionary idea of how to bring New Rome back to glory, but he clashes with the city's mayor, played by Giancarlo Esposito, on how that may be done. Set to be a sci-fi, utopian, futuristic political drama, everyone was excited to see what Francis Ford Coppola was cooking. I mean, this is the same guy that directed the Godfather films, Apocalypse Now, The Rain People, The Outsiders. This guy knows how to make a grand, great political drama. But people became even more interested in the film once the story of how it came to be came out. Well, believe it or not, Coppola actually came up with the idea of this movie back in 1977, while still working on Apocalypse Now. However, he didn't start actively working on the film until 1983, due to the stressful working conditions on the previously mentioned Apocalypse Now and his other film, One from the Heart. In 1983, Coppola began writing a script, and according to Rob Lowe, who starred in Coppola's The Outsiders, he would go around the set and tell everyone about this grand movie he was making. Nothing came out of it for another 6 years, but in 1989, Coppola was ready to shoot the film in Rome, but had to delay the film indefinitely as his film One from the Heart had completely tanked, and the movie was completely self-funded, which meant Coppola was now in great debt and needed to make some money back. In the 90s, after Godfather 3 was released, Coppola stopped working as much, but revived the idea of Megalopolis in 2001. He casted Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro and held readings for the film. This was around the time where Coppola changed the setting of the movie from Rome to a pseudo New York, and the great disaster that plagued the city was a series of terrorist attacks involving planes flying into the city's major buildings. Yeah, I'm guessing you can fill in the blanks on why this version of the film never came out. It was after the early 2000s where Coppola became heavily alienated by the traditional Hollywood studio system and started self-funding his ideas. In 2011, he came out with Twixt, and afterwards it seemed like Coppola had retired, having never made his dream project since the 70s. In 2019, Coppola came back to the film, trying to make it once again. He began piling up his cash with a shooting date in 2020. However, then another major world tragedy happened. Jesus, the writing was really on the wall for what was about to happen, huh? In 2021, to get the last pieces of his funding, Coppola sold a major share of his wine business. The total budget from Coppola came out to be $120 million. I'll repeat that. Coppola spent $120 million of his own cash for this film. Casting started quickly after that, with the main cast coming out. Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Grace Vanderwaal, put your dick away, Daniel, Aubrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, Lawrence Fishburne, Dustin Hoffman, Jason Schwartzman, and more. The film was now the face of new age artists. A massive fuck you to Hollywood, who stopped Coppola from creating this movie for 50 years. Literally saying, fine, I'll do it myself, and giving all your money to your own film in order to make the art you want. Coppola joined the club with M. Night Shyamalan as artistic martyrs, gambling everything to make what they want without execs getting in their hair. Shooting soon began, and things on set were a little different. Coppola straight up told the actors to improvise as much as they wanted. Like, go ahead. Which might sound fun, but you gotta understand there's hundreds of people with other jobs, and they can't spend another 3-4 hours every day on set because Adam Driver made an unfunny fart joke for 10 takes in a row, and we have to get the scene done today or we'll be behind schedule, so please guys, let's do some overtime. Which led to the film's art design department and visual effects team resigning midway through the film's shooting and needing to be replaced. Outside of that, shooting actually went very smoothly. The actors and Coppola got along very well, and the film finished shooting ahead of schedule. The film was picked up for distribution by Lionsgate and was set to premiere at Cannes 2024. The film, upon being shown at the festival, was given a 7-minute standing ovation. And apparently, Cannes must be the biggest glaze fest on the planet because a 7-minute standing ovation is seen as a bad thing. You at least have to hit double-digit minutes. The film also got boos at the festival, but then things went from a little concerning entertaining to straight up bad. The film debuted with a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the film being described as a complete mess made by an ambitious madman. But bad reviews are bad reviews. We'll just have to wait for the public to see the film. Nothing can get worse after that, right? On July 26th, Variety came out with an article exposing Coppola's inappropriate behavior on set. With video proof, it was shown that Coppola would grab and randomly kiss female extras on set, and was quoted to say, "Sorry if I came up and kissed you. Just know it's solely for my pleasure." That's fucking insane to say, bro. Like, any chance of you getting some of your PR back from this was just washed away with that. So now Coppola had lost the critics and lost the public. At this point, the movie was a wash. Coppola's behavior had killed any chance of this being a success and somehow making his money back. But it can't get worse, right? Right? Well, with the announcement that the film would be released on September 27th, the official trailer of the film was released, and a part of the trailer was showing some of the bad reviews of Coppola's previously adored films, including The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. This was basically to show them, hey, the critics hated it, but they were wrong about these other movies, so they could be wrong about this film. But then the funniest thing ever happened. It came out that these reviews were AI generated. They weren't even real. Well, actually, one of them was real. It was just a review for The Batman, not a Coppola film. Anyway, that's all the bad news for Megalopolis. Just kidding, no the fuck it's not. It came out recently that the tracking opening weekend sales for this film was only $5 million. May I remind you that Megalopolis cost $120 million to make, before advertising costs. Megalopolis is one of the biggest bombs in Hollywood history, and I'm saying that definitively before it even comes out. Oh yeah, I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but Coppola is now suing Variety for the article. So, good luck with that, buddy. I believe in you. Something about movies that completely fall apart before they even come out is very interesting to me. The first one I think I ever experienced in real time was the Flash movie. I remember for like 3 years straight, that movie was in a state of limbo. It was shot and ready to be edited, but their main actor was in a Saints Row 2 crime massacre, and we all had to wait for it to end. And then I remember they got like Stephen King and Tom Cruise to go on Twitter and say it's like the best film ever made just for it to come out and completely tank. Another one that comes to mind was The Marvels that came out last year. That movie was awful, and for some reason I chose to watch it twice in theaters. Same with The Flash too, I watched it twice in theaters. But honestly, that movie wasn't that bad, I actually kind of liked it. Film productions are awful. You can give 2 years of your life to try to make something that fulfills you and others while trying to balance what the studio wants and what you want. Coppola was able to cut through that and make a movie for himself. But somewhere in his passion, he went off the rails and created a media storm and a pretentious film that is now forever going to be known as one of the biggest flops in Hollywood ever, and is probably seen as the final nail in the casket of a director who was once known as one of the greats. You know how the saying goes.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
But I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'd love to continue this discussion. Make sure to subscribe if you liked the video and drop a like. That always helps us out. We're trying to get to 3,000, and I'll see you guys next week.